This week on Another Brother.
Go number 2 in the shower. Well, not in the shower. No, not in the shower.
But you're saying use the shower as a bidet.
Oh,
boy.
Yeah. There was no other option. The time I almost stomped on it, it was a fairly...
You run stomping?
It's gotta hurt. No, because it startled me. So, get it down, because we would go down and hike back up, go down and hike back up, and so we could get the perfect run.
Master the run.
Yeah, and then we'd know exactly what was coming, when we need to lean.
Like it was Mario Kart.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was about to say Mario and Luigi for some reason. I hadn't made the connection to Mario Kart.
The first thing they did was try to bribe the mayor to allow them to mount machine guns on top of town buildings.
Holy crap! Wait, the employees, the workers,
private detectives
Holy
that were coming to kick
cow.
everybody out. It's the start of the Frontier Nursing Service in Kentucky.
F&A.
FNS.
Oh, sorry, that was an exclamation. F&A.
Oh.
Sick.
Yeah.
Love that intro.
Yeah, it took me a while. I had to talk to some real professionals.
Noise. Worth it.
Thanks, Jared.
No, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Jared, too. Thank you, Jared, too.
Yeah.
But Mark helped me
Shout out.
mix things a bit
Yeah.
better.
Sweet.
He could be a ghost someday if he wanted.
Yeah, of course. For sure.
I do miss me some Mark. You've seen him recently, though,
Sure.
with your jobs.
Yeah. It's been a few weeks now. Or maybe only a couple weeks.
Couple, I think.
Yeah. I didn't really work with him during that last job, that last gig. He was doing something else entirely, but I think I saw him in the storage room for like 30 seconds.
Nice.
They've got a crazy storage room, like one of those automated lift type things where like it's a vertical storage thing.
Yeah.
And there's like you walk up to a door and you like hit a button on a screen to tell you to say I want lift number 34 or whatever.
So it's like an inventory.
And then it like behind the door, and then it opens up and it comes out to you, and you can take whatever you want off. And
Yeah, the
cool.
Utah State University Library has a section like that.
nice.
Yeah. I was like, man, this is the future.
Yeah, except that this one's malfunctioning all the time.
Boo.
Yeah, it's pretty temperamental with like, it's like safety stuff that like just glitches out. Like, don't touch anything the wrong way or it will stop everything and it'd take forever for you to get it started again. I don't know. Anyway.
So you don't like pinch or sever?
Yeah, cut off an arm with that automated door or something.
Yeah, unlike the Tesla Cybertruck.
Have you seen those videos?
Yeah.
Well, they show the back of the truck because it's powered.
The lift is powered?
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's powered lift. You open and close,
Did I say lift? I meant the
yeah,
gate.
tailgate.
Yeah.
And so they showed this. Yeah, I think it's a carrot. I think they mostly use carrots or like a sausage or something. They stick it in the corner there, and the Cybertruck door just completely severs it.
Then that would cut off a finger, wouldn't it? I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
what
Well-
everybody says, carrots and fingers.
So the video I most recently watched was the Frunk. The Frunk is also power automated.
Oh.
Close and shut.
Oh, you're right.
yeah,
I
it was
did
the
see
front.
that real quickly.
And the guy I watched, he had a stick, put the stick in, snapped the stick, clear,
Why would he
clean,
use his finger after that?
Yeah,
What
and
an
he's like,
idiot.
well, I did this, show you guys this earlier, so I'm just going to, it might have broken the stick, but I'll be fine. So he put his finger in again and did not stop it, clamped down like all the way, and he had to put his phone down to get his finger out.
Oh my gosh.
Huge indentation,
Yeah,
you know,
but not
blood.
like cut off or anything.
No, definitely not severed. It
Maybe
could
some
be
soft
broken.
tissue. Yeah. Well, then these videos will show like Mercedes and BMW and all these like other vehicles with their automatic closing back doors, and it stops
They have safety
upon
features.
detection.
And it's also not a
What
sharp
does Elon Musk
edge
care
of
about other people's
steel.
safety?
Well, the Cybertruck isn't for,
It's for show.
looks.
Oh, I mean,
Oops. That's a hot take. Not really. Yeah, crazy. Well, I was thinking for today, we've established a few things that I think lead in naturally to what I kind of wanted to walk down memory lane with, which was one, we grew up in Oregon, and so we grew up very outdoorsy.
As everyone probably is sick of hearing by now.
you're welcome.
But in case you forgot, and then also we all went to BYU in Provo, Utah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have like a lot of common, if not experiences that we did together, at least like a common drive to get out into the canyons, specifically in Provo. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about that. Let's talk about that.
We can't steal that.
Is it copyright? I don't know.
Well, since they have a series of videos that's called that now, it might be.
Don't sue us.
My freshman year at BYU was Jacob, the youngest one.
Right.
So my freshman year, we all roomed together. 6-man apartment. Half of it was Stewart's.
Yep.
Josh is Alex's good friend Chris, who we've probably mentioned before.
Yeah.
His brother's been on the podcast.
And he will eventually, too. We'll get him on.
Definitely.
We're still coming for you, Chris.
Chris is one of our other roommates. That was fun. So we had four of us Kaiserites together.
Yeah. And then one of my mission companions, Andrew.
He wasn't there the whole time, though, was he?
Just the year, that 1 year.
Oh, well, that would be the whole
we were
time
together.
Oh, yeah.
That was the whole time.
Yeah, he was there the whole time.
Oh. Huh.
And Levi was there the whole time, wasn't he?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't change roommates.
Huh. I guess I get confused because I stayed and you guys left.
Did you stay in there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think I knew that. Yeah. Continue, Jacob.
Well, I mean, so for me, as the youngest brother, that freshman year at BYU living together, going on all these adventures, especially as Josh mentioned, Rock Canyon, that's what solidified the brotherlyhoodness
At that
what
stage
we
of
are now
life.
today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
It was like a new chapter, right? We kind of had our growing up early years chapter.
Which was different. It was definitely different, I think, than the later chapter. Not the same closeness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think childhood, we grew up like just kind of your average siblings, normal siblings, picking on each other, wrestling, fighting, teasing each other.
For the first player controller in video games.
Making fun of me when I did stupid stuff because I was the youngest one, like the star kick on the trampoline. Remember that one?
Watching Dragon Ball Z whenever it was on the telly.
Oh, those were good shared memories. But yeah, then at BYU, it was from brothers to best friends, and which is kind of now I see what brothers should be.
Right.
Yeah. Which is a marked difference from my freshman year, which was Chris was still my roommate, and that was awesome. Loved that year. But I loved all my roommates my freshman year. It was, again, six guys.
Mm-hmm.
But, you'd get on each other's nerves because someone took all the toilet paper, so you have to, go number 2 in the shower. Well, not in the shower. Not in the shower.
But you're saying use the shower as a bidet. Oh, boy.
Yeah. There was no other option.
That would definitely get on my nerves, yeah.
And, cleaning up out in the kitchen and doing the dishes and then
the classic freshman dorm experience.
Plus more. Chris, I need Chris to get on so we can talk about some of the crazy stuff we got up to. But yeah, right. It's still fun, but it was different. It wasn't the same.
Yeah.
If I can pause Jacob's thought real quick.
Yeah.
Did you have a thought?
I thought you were in the middle of talking.
I was. I think Okay.
About
So we
getting
just
Chris
stopped
on
the
the show.
recording. we just stopped the
It's my
recording
fault.
to change the settings, and now I'm totally lost. It was like all of 30 seconds.
Stupid freshman.
Well, so I mean, like, so Alex, after your high school year, we've already briefly talked about it. You stayed home to work
Yeah.
before going on your mission. You were earning money, saving it, working at Sportsman's.
Yeah.
I decided to heck with it. I got nothing to do, nothing to lose. I'll let Dad pay, and I'm just gonna go to school. So I started at BYU first. This is Josh, the middle one, and that's supposed to sound like the MSG girl.
The MSG.
Oh, I was
girl?
thinking.
My stomach lining.
Oh.
I was thinking Powerpuff Girls.
Oh. The ugly one.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I get it now.
So I started BYU first, and I think it was Chris and I who first got out into Slate Canyon.
Oh,
that was the
really?
first canyon we
Slate
touched
was
foot in.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that whole freshman year spent a lot of time specifically in Slate
Oh,
Canyon.
yeah. Didn't you guys like paintball out in front of Slate Canyon?
Yeah. So
Oh, and all those grounds.
we paintballed there first. And we had a bunch of some other freshmen in Deseret Towers who we started like a little pro paintball team that this athletic store called Park Sports. Park Sports sponsored our team. This guy that we met at freshman orientation in Deseret Towers,
Yeah.
he just like cold called them. He just like walked in. He's like, "Hey, I played pro speedball before. We've got some guys we want to set up a team. Would you sponsor us? All we need is paintball and CO2. We'll like buy the athletic shirts and get screen printed like Park Sports or whatever, and we'll play." And they're like, "Yeah, cool, sure, whatever."
They paid for your paint and
Yeah.
Gas.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now I'll say we were all freshmen and super unreliable, and Chris wasn't on the team, and I can't remember the other guy's name. Gosh, I feel bad about that. But if I still had Facebook, it would be on there.
Sure.
Anyway, we played like 3 matches that season, and we lost every single one of them. And we didn't really practice together, so it died off. But
Just like soccer at Whitaker.
yeah. Oh. So yeah, Chris and we started in Slate Canyon, and then actually when I joined ROTC, we played paintball for ROTC in Slate Canyon.
Sure.
So anyway, I got
Really?
Oh, cool.
yeah, I had a ton of time.
Weird.
That's why I've always enjoyed Slate Canyon more than Rock Canyon.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm stuttering. That's how baffled I am that
Yeah,
I didn't spend more time there.
Oh, I know. I wasn't really pushy about it, but I kept trying to like get us into Slate Canyon.
The hooks were already sunk
Yeah.
for Rock Canyon.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, whatever. It's a different canyon.
I think I
Funny.
can kind of remember that a little bit, actually.
I mean, in the Jeep and driving around.
True.
I remember that
I
for
do
sure.
remember that.
Off-roading out there.
Yeah, that was fun.
I guess, because I never really got into the canyon proper. Like, never
Okay.
really hiked the canyon.
Ah,
So all my time was at that foothill section.
And like those scrub oaks and
uh-huh,
everything.
which really isn't fun to hang out in.
no.
So when we were like started
Right.
hiking in Rock Canyon, I was
Right.
like, all right, cool. I'm fine with that.
Got
Yeah.
it.
The hike in Slate Canyon it's rough. It's real steep.
Yeah. And narrow.
It is more narrow, true.
But I'm a little bummed because like I want to do it now. Like, I was looking at the topography today. Like, man, I really want to get back there.
I went pretty deep. I was kind of off put at first because I was a little concerned about all of the homeless camps that I found
Along the
in
creek.
the camp.
What?
Just off the trail.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember ever seeing those.
Yeah, I found quite a few.
And they'd hang up their clothes like above the water.
And I mean, you got to live somewhere,
Yeah.
It's public property.
right? People don't really hike Slate Canyon a ton, so I don't blame them. But I was a little
Always
unsure about.
unsettling.
Yeah. Anyway, I went pretty far in, and like you get to a point where you finally get like one of those mountain meadow type areas that kind of plateaus a little bit. And there's this, I don't know how old it is. It's probably from the 40s or 50s, back when mining was still a thing. But there's just a rusty old pipe coming up straight out of the ground, no concrete around it or anything, just up out of the grass into or over a steel tub that's like been dug into the ground also. And it's just sitting there full of water with this constant slow stream of water out of this pipe. It's super weird.
Was that... Oh, I wonder if that's like for ranging animals or something. Maybe. And it's just like runoff that just... And pressure.
Right.
Gravity fed, probably.
Yeah. Is that the hike? Is Slate Canyon that it opens up? You gain altitude, it opens up, and then you just have pristine views east with like the new set of mountain ranges in the back?
I didn't go much past that point. Since it's so steep, it wasn't like taking me into the mountain as much as it was taking me up the mountain. So I don't remember. But I think you're thinking of Rock Canyon again.
Okay. Right.
Because there is a trail that turns off that takes you to Slate Canyon. And we took that trail to do our ill-conceived March campout in the hammocks.
That's when
that was that trail. That trail goes all the way to Slate.
That goes all the way to Slate.
Does it open up and the mountains in the back, they were snowed?
Yeah.
And you could see like discrete kind of
like the steps.
Yeah. And on the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
That's it. I want to get back there.
Yeah, dude, so do I.
That was
you know where else?
Area.
Remind me if this was the same trail. I know this was up Rock Canyon. I don't think it was that same trail. I think this was celebrating Alex's birthday. I had just finished a Russian final, and we got to the canyon, and we found a creek, and we like hiked up the creek.
Yeah, that's not that.
Because it was just bare rock, no vegetation at all. Because it was a real steep
trough.
Yeah, sure, trough. That this creek had just cut this right out of the mountain, and so you had to scramble across all these rocks and stuff. Yeah, that was another really cool.
No,
place.
That was still Rock Canyon, I think. But I think it was we just stayed down by the creek instead of like taking the trail up higher away from it.
Just followed it.
Yeah.
So we went completely off trail.
I think so.
Yeah.
But listen to that. It's
like
that a lot.
Yeah.
It's like roughly the same direction, like same area, but it's like a completely different experience. Much so that we think it's totally different parts of the canyon. And that's what's so cool about these canyons, because they have so many characteristic features and just changes in not fauna, but the plants and the types of rock.
But even fauna. Well, no, not fauna.
Flora.
You're right. Sorry. Yeah, flora. Not the fauna. Yeah, I mean, it holds like this... It can hold power over your imagination that like, what other secrets are there out here?
That's what... So us being very limited to understanding the water infrastructure from the runoff that they're collecting from these deep and tall mountains, there were just so many weird things in Rock Canyon. Just not even that far, you didn't have to go that far in, just these pipes where you can just hear like drip drops through like this mesh cover over the opening of the pipe, and these weird little box structures that have like warning signs, and fences once you get miles back that have
seemingly nothing inside of them.
Yes, and then that's smashed down from the inside of the fence out towards the trail. Like, what the heck is going on?
What came out of that?
I forgot about that fence.
Oh, I remember that thing.
So do I, because that was... Well, see, I can't remember which outing this was, if this was the backpacking hammock or this your birthday one. I think it was your birthday one.
I think it was, yeah.
Yep. And yeah, it's just something about nature in general. Just the way your mind can run with things and start to fantasize and create these awesome, fun, fantasy types of stories as you're exploring, and it just makes it so fun.
Yeah. Or in this case, truth, because I guarantee it was a Yeti that burst over that fence. The Utah Yeti.
Oh man.
When do you guys remember like the first time we went into Rock Canyon? Because I don't think I went there until you guys got out there. Until you joined me at BYU.
Yeah.
And someone else definitely brought it up, because I would not have.
Is that not where we hiked with Grandpa as kids?
Yeah.
We did hike there as kids with Grandpa?
Yeah.
But you mean And
together.
I thought we only ever did Timpanogos with Grandpa.
No, I have a distinct memory of. So this is our Grandpa Robinson, who lives in Provo, like right south or northwest of the entrance to Rock Canyon, in the
foothills.
Yeah, what's their neighborhood called?
Indian foothills.
Indian Heights,
whatever it is. I remember. I don't know how old I was. I was pretty young. He like made us carry gallons of water, and so we'd have a milk gallon that had been filled with water. And we had moon pies from Day's Market.
Yeah.
And we'd just walk up into Rock Canyon. And I do remember this vividly because when I went back, when I was at BYU, I was like, this ravine is only this wide and not even that tall. Because as a kid, at one point, we went up for the hike and there's like some 2x4s or maybe like 2x6 or 1x6. And it was like stretched across the length of the ravine. And Grandpa let me try to walk across it, and I slipped and mashed my nose directly on the board and then like flipped it. So I grabbed it and then it flipped around and I fell. And I remember just crying and stuff, and Grandpa treated me with some tough love, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like we probably left shortly after that.
Huh.
Dude, I can vaguely remember that. I remembered someone crossing a creek and there being water and on wood planks and smashing a nose and bloody nose.
Yeah. But that's my first like injured nose injury.
Yeah.
And Grandpa's like, basically like, quit crying, you're fine. Here's how you stop it from bleeding. And that was the first time, that's how I learned. So that later as a Boy Scout in the Oregon forests,
right,
when I'd slip in the stream and break my nose or mash my nose on the rock, I knew what to do.
Huh.
So anyway, that was my.
Man.
So yeah, we went there with Grandpa.
I really thought that those hikes were like Stewart Falls, Timpanogos area.
I mean, yeah. So I know we went up the Timpanogos cave, but that one was Rock Canyon.
Okay,
I do remember that.
Yeah. Well,
but together, when did we?
I can't remember I remember spending a lot of nights. Hiking the canyon, but I can't remember if the first time was at night or not.
Right?
I don't either. And
it all gets overshadowed by those night hikes.
I know. Like hiking up the dry creek bed in the dark. It's so stupid. Could have easily rolled many ankles, but we didn't.
The first time we went up the draw. Not the first time.
Oh, man. With the scree. Straight up all that scree.
Oh yeah, you were so into riding scree at that time because of ROTC.
It was the funnest thing in the world. And yeah, we had a whole like multi-day class on mountain walking, how to traverse mountains with heavy weight on your back and stuff, and they teach you how to scree surf.
Mountain walking. I haven't heard that term.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm like, dude, it was better. It felt better. It felt funner than like inline skating or rollerblading. You know, you're just like, woo!
You're like gliding down it.
But I remember we got up, like way up that draw.
See, I think this was without me.
Really?
Yeah.
There was a time where the two of us went way up that draw.
So stupid.
Yeah, way up that draw.
Because then with that,
I've got pictures of that still too.
Oh man,
I do. Do you have pictures of us with the tree?
You sitting out on that tree? Yeah, I got that picture.
I haven't even seen these.
I need that.
I'll throw them in the folder.
We'll put it on the website.
I'm even more sad I missed out on this.
Dude, it was
dumb.
What the heck was I doing, Josh?
I don't know. Thinking about it now, I'm like, I was so stupid. I done so many dumb things.
Had those
in my
roots
life.
just not been particularly secure?
Oh, are you
it was
kidding me?
in rock.
It was the very top of this craggy rock face.
I can already.
And just this tree just like coming straight horizontally, parallel with the ground, out, and then like curved up. And I was out in the crook of it. Like not on the rock at all.
Yeah.
But, man, I felt invincible back then. Now I have kids and I can't even walk across the street without being fearful in my life.
It was fun though. We went a
really
far up
trek, man.
Yeah, it took
and then getting down was exhausting.
Hours.
Yeah.
I still forget to think about, can I come back down this? Up is fine, but down for some reason is harder. And I never think about it.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, if you fall while you're going uphill, you're going to fall forward in most cases.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is on your face, on your hands, and that's fine. If you fall going downhill, it's still most likely going to be forward, and then you're in like deep trouble.
Trap a appendage into a rock and just snap that thing. Who knows? You know.
I guess it's also that like going up, your face is closer to what you're going to be stepping onto. But going down, your face is farther away. So like your eyes are farther away from what you need to be stepping on or reaching for with your foot if you're climbing down a sheer
totally.
face.
The visibility of where you're going to be placing your feet and hands potentially way worse when you're going down.
I'm surprised we never came across rattlesnake or anything.
Never.
Gosh.
Cougar once
actually.
at night. No bears. I don't think we've seen any bears
We
yet.
saw tracks though.
Yeah, we did find tracks. And they looked
Just
pretty
cool.
fresh.
Yeah.
I'd say cougar 2 or 3 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep.
An owl once, I think.
And
think so.
that one person that I'm not prepared to talk about yet from our night hikes.
Oh. Yeah. Gotcha.
Bighorn sheep. I don't know if you guys ever saw any.
What?
Nope, I heard you talk about it.
Yeah, I did see them. They were literally just up on sheer rock faces.
That's so cool.
A ton of grouse.
Some squirrels.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is actually, strange. It feels weird to come across a squirrel in those mountains. Whereas in Oregon, they're like in the neighborhood.
This makes sense here. This is wet and green. And but in Utah, it's like...
It takes effort to find one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But shoot, right here in Layton, I've ran into 4, maybe 5 rattlesnakes.
Oh, crap. Rattlesnakes for real skis?
Mm-hmm. I mean, in the mountains here.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Okay.
Right. I nearly stepped on 2.
Dang, man. No way.
Like...
Out on the trail Sunday.
Oh, yeah. So it's... the time I almost stomped on it, it was a fairly...
You run stomping? It's gotta hurt.
No, because it startled me. We're hiking up, and I look down and I see this rattlesnake in the very middle of the trail.
Oh, yeah. I remember you talking about this.
And I did this weird, little prance thing to try to get out of the way of it, which almost resulted on me stomping right on it.
Oh, jeez.
But, it was a surprisingly cool summer morning. So it's like the dude was the dude. It's like the thing was still just sleeping because their energy is tied to the temperature as well. If it's cold, they don't have the same kind of metabolism as a warm-blooded creature, so they're just chilling in. Dude, it has anyway.
Ricky got bit by one in Ogden on the Bonneville shoreline, on the Bonneville shoreline trail. It was right in the middle. He thought it would be fun to play with, and it bit him right in the jowl. Shayna had to pick that dog up, run him. I don't know how far.
He was a big boy, by the way.
He was like probably 75, 80 pounds. He's a Catahoula Rottweiler mix. Yeah, she had to run him down off the mountain and then pay for freaking anti-venom, which was super expensive. 2 doses. But anyway.
Yet another reason why I like to go with a hiking stick. It's a tool at that point.
Yeah. Give them warning before you're there.
And, if you need to move them with it.
Yeah, dude, we threw rocks at that stupid one, and it didn't react at all.
Did you hit it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't even move.
That's crazy.
It definitely wasn't dead because it was gone once we came back down.
Poor old grandpa snake.
Man, one time we were probably 4,000 feet up the mountain at close to midnight and barely spotted it with our headlamps.
Oh,
jeez.
Dang, that's
terrifying every time.
Yeah, I'm not really sure I want to do those.
Yeah, dang it. I loved the night hikes.
Yeah.
Rock Canyon.
No, but this is, this isn't a canyon, right? This is
on the top of it.
Okay. Hiking up ridges.
Right.
Exposed. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so all this has been fall time, springtime, summertime activity. Now, what about the winter? Do we go into the canyons in the winter?
I think you missed the best of that.
I never did.
You never did it at all?
I never did it.
Oh, my gosh.
Until we got up here. Down in Provo, I never did it once.
For me, Rock Canyon was the best of this weird winter activity, without a doubt.
I have to agree. Yeah.
that's something we've never talked about. So we didn't grow up skiing or snowboarding.
Yeah.
We grew up in Oregon, even though we had, friends that would do that.
Yeah.
When we did our Mount Hood winter expeditions, we sledded.
I didn't. I wish I had.
Oh.
I really wish I
tube?
had. No. I snowboarded.
Really? Wait, what?
I mean, I had to try to ride the snowboard down from Timberline
Oh my god.
to get to that lodge that was in the middle of a ski run.
Yeah.
Owned by Boy Scouts of America.
This is a backpacking trip?
No, you drive
kind
up.
of. You drive up
did you
to
have
the
a
lodge, but
backpack
then you
on
ski.
while you were...
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. This was not the other tubing lodge. This was a lodge that was literally in the middle of a ski run on Mount Hood.
And you guys were staying there.
But yeah. It's nowhere near as nice of a lodge. Like, this is just a shed with bunk beds that you can sleep in.
Oh, okay. So you sat
cool.
on the board?
No.
You were actually
I was
strapped in.
trying to, and eventually I couldn't do it. So I had to take it off and walk. And whenever I had to go under a lift, people would like spit on me and boo and stuff. Like, it was so freaking annoying.
Snowboarders.
And I was able to go down one time safely. Once I got to the lodge, took off my pack, I was able to get all the way down by myself again because I was the last one to the lodge. So all of everyone else had already left. Like, I got in and they were leaving to go do snowboarding and skiing.
Nice.
So nobody to teach me what I was doing.
Boo.
I was able to get down safely once. Lots of falling, of course, but getting back up again, and I was able to get down. But then after riding the lift back up, going down again, I didn't know how to read signs. I didn't know what I was doing. And
Black Diamond.
I couldn't see.
Probably the easiest.
I couldn't see anything but white in front of me. And then suddenly I was going down into a half pipe.
Nice.
Oh, gosh.
And I ate it hard. Really messed up my right knee and had to, through the pain, like snowboard as best I could the way back down. And I was done because I really screwed up my knee.
I mean, I'd be done anyway. I hate snowboarding.
It sucked. It was not fun for me at all. I think everyone else had fun, though.
So I guess besides that, though...
The cross-country, I think is what we call it, cross-country sledding. Cross-country trail sledding. In Rock Canyon.
It was so good.
And you guys had the... you had, like, pretty minimalistic sleds.
So
Very.
these...
You sat on your butts, and you had, like, a part for your heels, right?
No, they were the shape of a butt and slightly larger, and then there was a small handle that would stick out between your legs. So you would just sit down on this butt-shaped pan and hold on to this little handle.
Your legs are under your... You're keeping them up off the ground.
Yes, initially. That's what we first
started
went up
with that. Those got toasted pretty quickly.
Really quickly, which was sad because Heather brought those home from Russia.
Oh, no.
Oh, dang.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, no.
It was fine. It was fine. But yeah, we called them Russian butt sleds.
But then I found on Amazon...
Do the Russians call them just butt sleds? Just curious.
Just the butt sleds.
But real quick about those ones were really cool because they were, again, they're as narrow as your hips, right? So you could take them on really narrow, skinny trails.
It was kind of like riding on a shovel.
Yeah. Yes.
With a shorter handle.
So we could take them not just on the big, wide main trail that went up through Rock Canyon, but up the small offshoots, like the one that went up to Squaw Peak, where you could get like really twisty.
Brilliant.
Because like on those trails, fewer people would hike that in the winter. And so the amount of snow or the width of the snow that was packed down was much more narrow. And so it acted like a luge, kind of. You just sat down and went.
Yep.
And it would take you didn't have to worry about turning, which was different because we were having to worry about turning before. But I remember this, when we did that Squaw Peak trail in Rock Canyon, I couldn't stop laughing like a little girl. I was just shrieking laughter.
Yeah.
And eventually because it was so fun. It was ridiculous. Amazing. And eventually this like really burly dude comes hiking up the trail and he's like, sounds like somebody's having fun. And I was.
Now, have you guys estimated like your longest total run in Rock Canyon?
That's a good idea, actually. I don't know, because it wouldn't be very long. Because there was always a bridge you would have to cross.
But I mean, like,
getting over those bridges was like a special challenge.
Yeah.
Not just getting to it, but like steering yourself onto it and across it.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe not contiguous, right. But like in total, if you
oh sure,
in like one day, right?
Yeah,
because I just imagine
2 miles at least.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Pooh log past the Pooh Bear log, the Pooh Bear bench.
Oh yeah, definitely past that. Well past that.
What bench?
The was it a plaque?
There was a little gold plaque on it, or
outside
brass plaque
outside. Our favorite night hiking
near the draw.
There was a bench there?
Yeah. So you have the creek that goes, you have the dry creek bed that goes right next to it, and then the path.
But there was like a camp.
There.
There's like a fire pit place up on that other side of the creek over there, and there was a bench.
Oh,
log bench with a plaque.
We went way further back than that.
Well further back.
And you could sled from there until you hit rocks at the parking lot.
Did you snowshoe in?
Nope.
No.
Flat feet.
Because there was enough traffic
boots, but not snowshoes.
It's completely packed, which was ideal for the sleds.
Much faster that way. Powder's so slow.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, but then Alex found a sled on Amazon.
Right. I bought it because it reminded me sort of like a tandem Russian butt sled.
Despite it being for a single person.
Right. Because the small little sled, it was 2 circles connected by a piece that didn't touch the snow. That
was like a peanut.
Kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the smaller circle in front was for your feet.
Oh, okay. So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've seen those.
But Jacob would sit in that one.
Yeah.
And I would sit in the back.
Oh, you actually did go
down.
We tandem bobsledded.
And then, like you said, we would both lay flat, keep our feet off the ground, and
the best way to steer.
Did you go faster?
Yeah.
Way faster.
It was amazing.
And drifting around curves, like kind of, you'd have to like throw a hand out. I would throw a hand out behind me to add drag on the side that we wanted to turn into.
It's like It's like whitewater rafting,
kind of. Yeah,
in the Deschutes.
It was the best. It was absolutely amazing.
We'd like lean in unison and get it down. Because we would go down and hike back up, go down and hike back up, and so we could get the perfect run,
master the run.
Yeah, and then we'd know exactly what was coming, when we need to lean.
Like it was Mario Kart.
Yeah, I was about to say Mario and Luigi for some reason. I hadn't made the connection to Mario Kart.
Double dash.
There it is. Oh, that's awesome.
And one time we were going down one of my favorite sections where I think there was something similar to like a manhole around a really wide curve on the left.
It was melted because it's always warmer.
We were coming down a pretty straight section that was relatively steep for the trail that would take you into that curve. And I just suddenly felt a presence next to us on the right. And I turned my face to the right, and there's a giant, fluffy dog just running alongside of us happily. Not looking at us, just running with us.
Hey, guys.
It was flipping hilarious. I took a video of it, I think.
I've got it all on YouTube.
You've got it? Oh, man. So good. We'll have to put a link to that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It was so fun. This was the best winter activity ever.
Nice.
It was.
I wonder if there's a trail in Layton where we can do that. Have you guys checked it? I haven't.
It's different.
Yeah,
it just hits different.
But that trail where you like drive up into a neighborhood and park and get up onto Bonneville.
We've done it there.
You've done that? You've done the sledding there?
You've come too.
Yeah. Oh, is that where we did it?
Yeah, out of Fernwood.
Oh, I knew that's where we did it.
Yeah, and I, like an idiot, I just have a need for speed and almost really hurt Gwen.
Got to settle down.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's because that's a fairly narrow trail.
Traffic.
Okay.
Definitely lots of people, and it's short.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, so we might just have to take a trip down to Provo again.
Yeah. I've been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2 lately.
Love this game.
A video game based in Wild Western Americana. It's in a fictionalized state, I guess. I think it's supposed to be one state that kind of condenses all of the United States.
Yeah,
and it's different.
Not just the Western, but
Yeah.
Montana, I'd say Montana's present. Louisiana's present.
New Hampshire's definitely in there. There's an area called New Haven,
yeah, okay.
and that's all often just written as NH. That's definitely supposed to be like, because it's in the northeast of the map, so it's supposed to be like a New Hampshire. There's a town called Saint Denis that's supposed to be like a New Orleans replacement. Yeah, it's super cool. It's very violent and a lot of vulgar language. This is a Western. It is a Western epic.
Yeah.
It is an epic long story and definitely just trying to be like the best of what people think of when they think of a good Western story. You play as a character named Arthur Morgan. You're one of the guns in a gang called the Vanderland Gang, which is led by
Dutch,
a silver-tongued fool by the name of Dutch Vanderland. And it's like 20 people. The gang's like 20 people, men, women, one child. And
a preacher.
Yeah, there's a drunk preacher, former preacher, obviously.
Yeah.
A German loan shark.
Yeah.
And then just a bunch of normal, what I would consider like normal. Oh, there's a guy who... there's a Native American man. There's a black man, a black girl, Tilly, and then like a
former Navy vet, I think.
Oh, you think Bill? You're right. Bill was a Marine.
Marine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he fought in the Civil War, so I don't know what he would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, super cool game. It's I've been playing it for years, and I still haven't finished it yet. Like off and on for years. It's just so big.
It does feel like you're playing in a Western. There's so much story.
Yeah,
it's open world, but everything about it is you're the environment's there. Like you're in it.
Yeah, it's very
great.
immersive.
Very immersive.
Extremely immersive. Made by the people that make Grand Theft Auto. Mm-hmm. So I guess you could kind of just say this is Grand Theft Auto Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
But I've never played a modern Grand Theft Auto, I think the story of this game is probably a little more thoughtful and mature.
I think that's a safe bet.
Than Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Because like Dutch is constantly going on about philosophy and his philosophy and the way this gang does things and how you leave no man behind. It's all about family. And
he has a very romantic view on life,
for sure.
That doesn't exactly mesh with reality all the time.
And his logic has never been very logical to me. And I think that's finally starting to happen for the other characters in the game too. Now that I'm getting towards the end, it's going to come to a dirty end. I can tell. You're pulling train jobs, holding up stagecoaches, but this takes place in 1899. So this is at the very end of what you would consider America's Wild Wild West days. But this got me thinking, because you can read newspapers in the game, like you can buy newspapers around, and I was like, man, what if I could do this for a segment? So I present to you
this is gonna be
a fistful of ballers.
Did you record an entire thing?
Yeah, I spent the entire day making this soundbite.
Oh no. A fistful of ballers.
Yeah. It's kind of like story time, but I wanted to tell some stories of like real Americans from our older days doing crazy stuff, cool stuff.
Oh, that would have been perfect for...
Jedi general
revolutionary.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dang it. Well,
ballers
I like it. Ballin'.
That kind of.
yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, ballers. Got it.
Fistful of ballers.
Okay, so I've got 3 stories.
I like this. Yeah. There's a lot that could fit in this.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've already got like some names of people to look into.
So I tried to find stories that like took place around the time of Red Dead Redemption, but I could only get one that I felt was fleshed out enough to tell from that time period. But the others are not long after that time period. So I'm going to start with the one that does line up, not only with the time period, but also with a specific area in the game that I think was probably directly inspired by these real events. So we all know about America's Civil War, but there have been a number of other smaller armed insurrections that took place throughout our history. This one is known as the West Virginia Coal Wars. So in the late 1800s, coal miners in West Virginia, which is really all West Virginia was good for,
Yeah.
had to put up with really meager wages, really crappy tools, extreme danger, and a contract with employers that forbade them from unionizing.
Not to mention all the crappy health from it.
Yeah, definitely.
Were there child labor laws?
I don't think so, not
I
yet.
doubt it.
Well, actually, I'm not sure.
Anyway.
Yeah. If any of the miners did form a union, according to their contract, they would be terminated immediately. And if you were living in company housing, which a lot of them were, you'd be evicted. In 1920, Mingo County, West Virginia had had enough, and they got the United Mine Workers Union to organize in their area. So they've already been putting up with this crap for at least 40 years, when they finally said enough is enough. And inevitably, thousands of those miners were fired. But worst of all, the mine owners sent private detectives to enforce the evictions from company housing. In May 1920, about a dozen of these detectives walk into the mining town of Matawan to kick people out. First thing they did was try to bribe the mayor to allow them to mount machine guns on top of town buildings.
Holy crap. Wait, the employees, the workers?
Private detectives that were coming to kick everybody out said, hey man, here's a little money if we can just...
We need some machine gun nests up in here.
Oh my gosh.
Thankfully, he said no. So instead, they went door to door, shoving guns into people's faces to force them out. And that was not what anyone was expecting from an eviction.
America.
And this form of evicting did not sit well with the town's police chief, Sid Hatfield.
All right. Ooh, a Hatfield.
And the McCoys.
No McCoy's in the story that I know of anyway.
They were probably the detectives.
Exactly.
That would explain what's about to happen. So Chief Hatfield goes up to the detectives
I really like this guy.
and says, you're all under arrest. But unfortunately, all that did was lead to a shootout that got 10 people killed, including the mayor.
Oh my gosh.
I wish I knew more details about how that unfolded, that the mayor was going to get shot, but I don't.
Yeah, some more tact by the police chief could have helped out here.
Maybe, yeah. The event came to be known as the Matawan Massacre and kicked off a war between those for unionizing and those against it across the entire state of West Virginia. For several months, there were countless battles using the kind of tactics that the U.S. became known for during the War of Independence. Ambushes, guerrilla warfare, and not a ton of real organization. The peak came on August 1st, 1921. So this is more than a year later. Good old police chief Sid Hatfield was walking into a courthouse when he was ambushed and shot.
Wow.
Furious, the miners decided to really get organized and march on the coal companies, starting with Mingo County. 10,000 armed miners prepared to march.
Holy cow.
But a sheriff who happened to be against the unionization found out that they'd be marching through his town So he gathered together 3,000 state police and started digging trenches.
Sheesh. What?
To ambush the marching miners. And that is what happened.
So they dug trenches alongside the road, like
Right.
the avenue of approach.
Actually, this was maybe just outside of the town, probably before getting to the town, around a mountain, but I can't remember the name of that mountain. So it was a kind of a mountain road. And that was a real battle, lasting nearly a month.
Holy
They all,
cow.
the 13,000 of them sat there for a month shooting at each other. Eventually, on September 4th, President Warren G. Harding sent federal troops to put the whole thing to an end. 20 or so miners were charged with treason, and hundreds were indicted for murder. But nearly everyone got off in the end.
Okay.
In the next decade, President Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal legally codified workers' rights to organize in the United States.
Incredible.
Wow.
And it might not have happened if it weren't for all of that. No idea.
Incredible. So many thoughts. My first question, though, is in your telling of this story, who are the ballers?
I think the miners are.
Heck yeah. And Sid Hatfield. Sorry. And Sid Hatfield. It's too far away from the mic.
Yeah. I don't know. It's up to interpretation, you know?
Yeah.
Nah, there's no interpretation. It's the miners.
So, like, I think a lot of people today can kind of relate to this. Like, it's just always been the American way that a few really rich people are somehow first able to become rich and then use that power to hold everybody else down and make themselves rich.
Yeah. However, I think of it from the state police perspective, who are trying to exert government's control to keep the peace.
In order. Yeah.
Yeah, peace and order. 3,000 of them, knowing they're going to be ambushing 10,000 angry, ticked off miners.
Yeah.
That's pretty baller as well. And I
Yeah,
feel
but
like
he was just being petty because he didn't want them to unionize.
no, the mayor was. I'm sure
sheriff. The sheriff of that town.
The sheriff of the town
who
county,
organized
Yeah.
3,000
3,000 officers from the whole entire state. Yeah.
They're following orders. They don't have a choice.
Well,
Someone, the state governor or someone
That's true.
ordered them to do
Why would a
this.
sheriff be able to order
He wouldn't
state
be able
police? Yeah.
So
fair.
Unless he just found a bunch of state police that agreed with him and they were like, yeah, okay, I'll do that.
but then you still have to get permission and approval, and you're using state furnished weaponry and bullets.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like ammunition. That's a lot of cost that there's no way that town sheriff has. So, my bet is, well, it's West Virginia, so who knows?
It is. Yeah.
But I would think, based on a modern interpretation, they were probably ordered by like the governor or the state chief of police, and they just had to do it.
Probably.
Which, either way, kudos to both sides. Not knowing anything more about this, I would say bravo.
Yeah. There's a town in Red Dead Redemption called Annesburg or Annisburg. It's a mining town.
Oh, is that the oil
It's a coal
refinery?
mining town. No, it's a coal mining town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what made me think of doing this story.
Yeah.
Because they're all very sick and living in company housing. That's
Black lung.
Terrible. Anyway. Okay, this next one is about our first female president that nobody really knows about.
Baloney.
I have squinty eyes right now.
Baloney.
I didn't have time to transcribe this, so I'm just going to read it from HeinOnline.com. They blog about U.S. history and
Reputable.
reputable. Yeah, they also help a lot of libraries with keeping history documented and stuff. I'm not sure everything that they do there. Anyway, in August of 1914, President Woodrow Wilson lost his wife, Ellen. The following March, he was introduced to widow Edith Galt through a first cousin. As if in love at first sight, Wilson immediately began showering her with gifts and love notes, some of which probed for her opinion on presidential matters. 3 months after their introduction, Wilson proposed to his advisor's alarm, and the two were married in December of 1915.
Did you say 3 months?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
After the death of his first wife? Or after
having
meeting her?
met.
Well, so in August, she dies. Then in March,
Following
the next March,
Okay.
they meet. And then 3 months after that, married.
Okay, so like 10-ish months from the time his wife dies to... Okay.
Or I guess they weren't married 3 months after that. 3 months after that, they were engaged. And they got married in December of 1915.
Okay.
Respectable.
Yeah, over a year.
Wilson won another term, and his new wife became his constant companion. She attended his meetings, was given access to classified materials, and even filtered his mail for him. Toward the end of World War I...
I don't like that. I'm just saying that.
Toward the end of World War I, she accompanied the president to Europe to attend the 1919 Paris Peace Conference. Shortly after their return, a stroke left President Wilson paralyzed and bedridden. Instead of encouraging her husband to resign and be replaced by the vice president, Edith took on a number of his duties herself.
Wow.
Hiding the extent of his incapacity from the public. Now, obviously, this is written to say that this was her idea and that she was doing it. But, for all we know, he was completely on board because from the time of his stroke to the end of his term in 1921, Edith Wilson was the only connection between the president and other officials, filtering all presidential matters and determining what was important enough to be brought to his bedside.
Insanity.
She was so serious about her new position as presidential steward that when the... Oh, that's in quotes. Presidential
I was
steward.
going to say, this has not been codified in any formal government documentation, so...
When the Secretary of State conducted cabinet meetings without her being present, she had him removed from office.
Get out! How? Did they say what mechanism?
Didn't say. But, I'm sure it would have required the president to sign something. For all we know, she learned to forge his signature.
You said Secretary of State?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Cabinet
so it is
meetings.
appointed, yeah.
When an ambassador arrived to help negotiate for the president's version of the League of Nations, she refused him the opportunity unless he fired an aide who had made a joke about her, to which the ambassador refused. Edith Wilson analyzed every message delivered to the president, barred all officials from bringing him business, assisted him in completing any necessary tasks, and naturally influenced domestic and international policy in doing so.
Yeah, I'd say. You can... Okay, keep going. I've got a story.
Though she did not make any crucial decisions, she was accused of running the country in Wilson's absence.
Yeah.
An accusation that she insisted was incorrect up until her death in 1961.
Incredible.
Huh.
That sounds very un-American. We didn't vote for her. We voted for her husband.
True that.
Nuts. That's nuts. Quick sidebar. I'm assuming you have another one.
I have one more, yes.
Quick sidebar. It's very similar to, I think they called it the cult of secretaries in China back in like the 70s and 80s, maybe 90s even. So the position of secretary is fundamental to governance in many different areas within Chinese political spheres.
Okay.
And industrial spheres.
Sure.
So the secretaries, at the time, it was this clique in Beijing, where the secretaries realized they had... Oh, I'm sorry. This is about the drivers. No. It's the secretaries. Okay. So there's two cliques, and there's little different stories.
Okay.
But basically, this is the secretaries controlled who got FaceTime with their politician,
right,
and who didn't. And so, in China being China, full of corruption, always has been. People who are trying to gain political favor or get something done with specific politicians bribe the heck out of them. And the secretaries realized, well, they could get the same bribe because they control access to their politician. Mm-hmm. And so the secretaries start kind of unionizing under the table and determining in essence, what policies are happening. And they didn't care about the politics. They just cared that they were getting
what's good for us.
Yeah, if their politician's getting gold bracelets or gold watch or something, they better get one too. And so anyway, pretty similar idea.
I mean, I see two ways of looking at this story. You could either see it as an insane woman seizing power for herself, if you want to be really skeptical or cynical about it. Or you could see it as a wife that wants to preserve her husband's ability to continue to be the president during a time when other people are going to say, no. Time for someone else to take power now. Yeah. And I don't know which it is.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's pretty hardcore that she would do that.
Yeah, it is. From that little snippet, I mean, it doesn't necessarily sound sinister to me, like she was power hungry. But, I mean, obviously the entire thing was her stepping well beyond the boundaries and then having people fired because of the way they spoke about her. That's corruption.
Yep.
But yeah, should his vice president have stepped forward? Not stepped forward, but should he have become the acting president? Absolutely. Was she this crazy person who wanted it all for herself? I don't know.
Who knows?
Don't know, but she's definitely a baller.
Okay. Have you guys ever heard of a TV show? I think it's a BBC show. Yeah, it's a BBC show called Call the Midwife.
Call of the Midwife?
Call the Midwife. I think it's The Midwife. It might be called
Either way,
Midwife.
no.
I think it's on Netflix.
I think it is, yes.
Yeah, I've seen it, but I haven't watched it.
It's pretty good. It's about these women that work as midwives. They live, in this show, they live at a convent, I think, essentially, with some nuns, though they are not nuns themselves. And every day they're out on their bicycles running all over London, or at least a portion of London, checking up on people, helping them with different illnesses, delivering babies, obviously. Well, this is a story about an American who really liked that type of medical practice compared to the way things were normally done in the United States. Her name is Mary Carson Breckinridge, and she was born in 1881 to a powerful and affluent family. Her grandfather was Vice President John C. Breckinridge, who served with President Buchanan, and her father was an Arkansas congressman and a U.S. minister to Russia. She eventually became displeased with the education she was getting when compared with that of her brother. He got to attend private schools, while she had governesses and private tutors teaching her.
I know this story.
This will be important later. Her experiences living in Russia with her family when she was young introduced her to midwifery when her younger brother was born there. The nurse midwife took the lead in caring for her mother during the birth, while 3 physicians just stood by. She would also often visit her uncles in Mississippi, where she learned to ride a horse, which seems like a disconnected fact.
Fun fact.
But it's going to make sense soon. In 1904, she married for the first time, but he died 2 years later of appendicitis complications. She tried again in 1912, marrying the president of Crescent College and Conservatory. They had 2 children, both of which died.
This is a sad story.
At first. After divorcing her husband, which is pretty normal after you lose both of your kids, I hear, she got to work trying to make life better for families. Because she believed that had she had closer access to medical care, most of these deaths, if not all of them, would have been avoidable. She worked in the slums of Washington, D.C., supervising nurses during an epidemic of influenza in 1918. She then worked in the slums of Boston as a nurse while completing a short, intensive course in baby welfare. Mary then spent 3 years in France with the American Committee for Devastated France. While there, she began to formulate a plan for providing healthcare to people living in the remote hills of Kentucky. And to prepare for that plan...
Well, in France.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
To prepare for that plan...
while in devastated France.
Yes. World War I devastated France.
Right. It's just... I don't imagine many people are in Paris, like, dreaming and thinking about Kentucky while they're there.
She was a lady with a plan, I guess.
She had a mission.
And to prepare for that plan, she took a series of advanced courses in public health nursing at Columbia University to shore up her weaknesses. She then spent the summer of 1923 riding horseback through the Kentucky hills, traveling 650 miles in search of local midwives. And she did not like what she found. Most of them were average age 60 years old and still practiced medieval types of medicine. And their living situations were also dirty and disgusting. I don't know about this part for a fact because I haven't read any of the books that have been written about her, because there are books written about this woman. But it seems to me that she probably felt like she needed to shore up her weaknesses, her knowledge, even more. Because then, that fall, she went to the British Hospital for Mothers and Babies to formally learn midwifery, because there were no courses taught in the U.S. She then took a comprehensive tour of Scotland's healthcare system to see how they organized themselves in such a remote, rural area and found a model to base her own organization on. Then she returned to London to complete a postgraduate program of midwifery. Finally, in 1925, she founded...
This is the start of the Red Cross.
No. It's the start of the Frontier Nursing Service in Kentucky.
FNA.
FNS.
Oh, sorry. That was an exclamation. FNA.
Oh. Okay, so she recruited girls that were very similar to herself. Older than 18. Well, she was much older than 18 at this point in time.
At this point, I was going to check that.
Yep.
But born to wealthy families who were less than thrilled with the lifestyle of tea parties and other debutantery that lifestyle provided. And it worked similarly to a lot of religious missionary work. Either the girls or their families paid for their food and their upkeep while they spent a handful of months at a time serving in the hills and mountains and forests of Kentucky.
Oh, so this would be like a not a job, but a temporary thing. They wouldn't come do this full time.
Right.
Oh.
The families receiving care from FNS paid $1 a year so they could receive care at 6 remote outposts that they had built between 9 and 12 miles apart, or through house calls. Duties included fetching patients from cabins on horseback. These girls all knew how to ride.
Yeah.
Because of their English riding lessons as debutantes.
Through the Great Smoky Mountains.
And they were riding all over Kentucky to take patients to their cabins from their care facilities or the other way around, weighing babies, delivering medicine, cleaning saddles and bridles, and escorting any guests who rode the routes between FNS outposts. This is a quote. There was no way for nurses to send word back and forth from the cabins to the headquarters, so taking messages was one of the main things that couriers did, said volunteer Catherine Trowbridge Arpey. So they were also Pony Express.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it sounds Kentucky. Like kind of a...
I don't know how much of that mail was just FNS official business stuff, like this person's requesting this person's requesting that, and how much of it was like
it's probably a way
actual
to
mail.
Make more money. Yeah, fund it more. You're on horseback. You're in towns.
I don't think so.
Might as well carry postage.
They got a lot of donations from the wealthy friends
makes sense.
of Mary Breckinridge.
Yeah.
Even President Roosevelt's wife knew about the organization and donated. They also had to learn how to care for those horses, including flipping through veterinary books to try and keep a horse from dying. Because none of them really knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
I read about one of these nurse midwives, who was in charge of 7 to 8 horses, brushing them, feeding them, medicine, caring for them in every way. One writer a girl by the last name of Henning, I couldn't find her first name, said this about a night when she had been sent to check on a nurse midwife who had not been seen for more than 12 hours. I can still feel the blackness of that night, without a star in the sky or a glimmer from the moon. We could not even see our horses' heads in front of us. The mountain horses are wonderfully sure-footed in the dark, as well as the daylight. Another nurse, Mary McAfee, said, taking patients from the clinic to their cabins was often a 2 days journey.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. So, whoa. I don't know this for a fact, but it seems possible, maybe even likely, that they were riding a horse and had another horse hitched up to their horse that they would take with them, and then the patient would ride that horse instead of like riding behind them.
Didn't you say they were like 9 to 12 miles from the populated areas?
There were 6 facilities that they had built out in the wilderness that were for treating people, and those facilities were 9 to 12 miles apart from each other. Is what I've been able to gather.
But there were also outposts?
Those were the outposts.
Those are the outposts.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know where these girls lived. I'm imagining just FNS official cabins, almost like a summer camp.
Adirondack or something.
Yeah. Right. They were still using horses after World War II, but they also started to drive Jeeps at that point in time.
Nice. Good upgrade.
Between the 1980s and the 2000s, because they're still going now.
What?
These volunteers shifted their focus away from being midwives, nurses, to doing community service, such as offering tutoring and literacy education.
Okay, well that's
and
also
working
good.
at hospices.
Okay.
So they're still doing some nursing there.
Okay, so this is still
It's still around, baby.
young women
Yeah.
just volunteering their time and even some of their money to fund their own food or board.
I don't know if that's how it's still working today or not. I don't know.
But it's
still going.
Temporary volunteer work.
Because she eventually opened a college.
Wow.
According to Frontier Nursing University, 1,600 couriers have served with the organization since 1928. Today...
Wow, they're almost 100 years old.
I know. Yeah. Today, college students can apply to the school's 7-week Courier Program Public Health Internship. No horseback riding experience required.
They'll teach you?
I don't know. I hope so. That'd be flippin' sweet.
Like Scooter now.
I doubt you have to be a woman, because some of the first riders were men, or young men anyway.
Yeah.
But it didn't take long for her to get these girls that she really understood, because she had been one herself, to break free of their Downton Abbey lifestyle and get to work.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's really cool.
So that was like 40 years in the making.
Yeah.
And then it's lasted close to 100 years now.
Yeah.
Wow.
At one point, I think by the 30s, the 1930s, there was a long wait list to get to serve, because there were more people that wanted to do it than there was actually demand for them. So I think I remember reading one story of a woman who had been a courier herself once. And when she gave birth to her own daughter, she immediately signed her up to be a courier nurse when she came of age at 18. And that was in 1957.
I will volunteer.
Had her name waiting on the list for 18
I'm sure
years.
you can take your name off the list, but at least it was there ready to go when she turned 18.
Nice. She's like, deliver my baby and you can have my firstborn.
Yeah. I mean,
which happens to be the baby you just delivered.
It wasn't Victorian America at that point. You know, the Wild West was technically gone, but still, the 1920s was not hugely civilized in Kentucky.
Right, I can't imagine. Yeah. Well, clearly, because there's a need.
A need for a horse specifically.
A horse-drawn midwife care.
Yeah.
And I mean,
cool.
these rural areas of like West Virginia, Kentucky, like even to this day, it's still like in stark contrast to many other parts of the country. I mean, I think these are like the highest poverty rates in the nation when you get into these kinds of rural areas in these states. So I see that there could still be a need for this service today.
Well, and education is critical.
Yeah.
Right. didn't Chris serve a little bit in Kentucky?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think most of his time was in Cincinnati.
Right.
But yeah, his mission. I think most of his mission was in Kentucky.
I think so.
I think that's
the
what he said,
boundaries
yeah.
of Kentucky.
So he might have something to say about this too.
Yeah.
Okay, one more time.
A fistful of ballers.
So I don't know what you guys think about this as a new segment, but
I like it.
Could you do a balalaika and accordion version?
Polka?
No,
A polka version?
I don't have those instruments available to me. I had to record the harmonica.
Nice.
Did you really?
I did, yeah.
Oh.
And the whistling. That was me whistling.
Who has next week's? Me? Yeah, I'm going to do a fistful of ballers.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, no, like I said, there's so many people that we could just talk about.
Yeah.
Because, like, the really cool thing, like, so often, like, when you hear the stories of like, geniuses, whether it be, you know, business, political, artistic geniuses, I mean, first of all, more often than not, it's going to be a man, because that's just the way history has been.
Mm-hmm.
And those are where the attention is usually given.
Or at least that's the way the history was recorded.
Yeah,
because men did everything.
Yeah, no one writes women's history.
When you find about like who they really are, they're almost always like insanely egotistical or narcissistic.
Right.
Like to like a sickening point often. But then you hear about people like
Mary
Ms.
Breckenridge.
And you're like, dang. Like she was just this was not for notoriety. This was not for I don't know, self-gain. Like she left basically all the wealth and everything that she had from childhood
to live in Paris and London. Come on.
To live in Kentucky.
Yeah, to eventually get to Kentucky. You know?
Yeah.
Like
I shouldn't laugh.
It's just cool. You know, like, cool. There's clearly no like her seeking to build herself up or get gain, just prevent attention.
Prevent pain that she experienced from happening to other people.
Yeah, just constantly seeking self-improvement to then help others. And it's amazing to me that people have that insanely strong of a drive inside to take them to those lengths, to spend that much time getting education, ground experience to then, you know, build something like this of her own.
True, she went from Russia, Paris, London, Scotland,
DC.
She also studied in Switzerland, but that was more like her personal life before she came of age and like took over her life. But she also spent her entire inheritance from her grandmother to build this thing, and it was not insignificant.
I'm like, there aren't many people in her position who do this kind of stuff.
Real American baller.
Amen.
Real American baller. But educated by the Europeans.
Because we didn't like midwifery.
Yeah. There's a lot to be learned from the social services provided in Europe.
How's that for an American sentiment?
Just had to balance all these American ballers out.
That's the hot take.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dang it, that's what I was going to do.
Oh, shoot. Do it. You're going to do it better.
Thank you
for being our brother.
Wow,
that might be too energetic, though.
Okay. we'll take another run at it then.
Okay. For being our brother.
The first one was too energetic.
Gotcha. Production of this podcast is done by Alex Stewart.
With music by Jared Poff and Alex Stewart.
For show notes, rockin' merch, and other brother goodness, check out our website at anotherbrotherpodcast.com.
Be sure to come back next week.
And tell your friends so they too can become a
brother over here, brother over there.